Today is Sunday, January 8th, 2023, back for a market forecast for the upcoming week. And to start things off, I'm going to take a look at the dollar index here. I have the monthly chart, and we can see that we took these equal highs to the left. We've had a very, very bullish last couple of years, and then hit a resistance point at around 114 or so, and have had a pretty steady sell-off so far. So let's just take a look at why we rejected where we rejected. And if we zoom out a bit, we can see on the monthly chart that we have this leg in price right here. And we have been for quite a bit of time since 2008 retracing up. And if we look into this consolidation area, we can see that we have this monthly support level right here. Why is it a monthly support? This is a area that we had a rally that failed to make a higher high, however, and has since broken down to new lows. We have this imbalance, and this becomes a level of resistance since it has not been tested before, that on the first time back, we get a very nice reaction off of the level. And the question I have is, are we going to be ultimately making new lows? I mean, that could be years from now, but it's something to consider. For now, all that's relevant is looking at this recent leg up. We can see that we have equal lows here all the way down here, as well as some imbalance. But again, that's still a ways away, and we're looking at the monthly chart. So for now, the only thing that I really am focused on is the immediate range and looking at the discount level. So below 50%, we can see that we have this fair value gap right there. And so that would be my next guess for where price is likely to be headed. And if we go down to the weekly, again, we've reacted off of that monthly resistance level, consolidated, taken out some swing lows with this solid impulse candle, leaving this gap behind that got traded into and then has since sold off, but not very aggressively. In recent weeks, we've pretty much been going sideways. But if we take a look here, we do have this weekly low right above the monthly imbalance here, which I do believe we are drawing towards. However, we do have this imbalance here, which is the level that's currently supporting price. And if we just kind of zoom down onto the daily, we can see that as we've been trending down, we've created this sort of trend line liquidity right here, and the market has had a nice move outside of this area here. So it's grabbed the liquidity. Anyone who's shorted this trend line tap has been taken out. Anyone who has been longing this breakout is feeling a little bit of pressure probably to close those positions as the market is aggressively rejecting off of the 105.50 level and is making a sharp move towards these equal lows right here, and again to these other downside targets. So if we go back to the weekly, we can see that last week's candle had this very obvious rejection. And so when I see something like that, the first thing I'm going to do is put a weekly level right here at the weekly low. And I'm going to pay close attention to how price behaves around this level on the lower time frames. I want to see, do we see momentum through that level? Do we see gaps through that level? Are we impulsing through that level? If we do, then, if we have a breakdown, then clear bearish price action, I believe, is in the works. But if we kind of just kind of probe below it a little bit and kind of slow down, show some consolidation, we could then retrace up into maybe these imbalances here, potentially, before resuming lower. So we'll have to just see what the market is doing around this level. But if we are going to expand lower, we have to go below last week's low. Yeah, so I would just be very surprised if price bounces here. I do feel like it's done the job of what it was intending to do by going above these highs here. And the magnitude of this rejection would have me still leaning pretty bearish on the dollar index. going to the NASDAQ. Let's go straight to the NASDAQ here. And let's start off again by looking at the monthly chart. And we can take a look at the monthly and see that, yes, even though we've been bearish, even though that December has rejected off of this gap that it filled in and sold off, we did get a little bounce off the lows. And then the beginning of January saw a move right below last month's low, and we've seen a very solid rejection. So I do feel like that means we are going to see higher prices. Not to say that we can't eventually turn back down lower, but due to this type of rejection early in the month, I do feel like price has higher targets it wants to hit before possibly turning lower if it does in fact want to go lower. So let's take a look at the weekly chart, and I think that also confirms it. We have this sort of support level, sort of double bottom area, and also this support level from the left. We can see that we've had two pretty aggressive wick rejections in consecutive weeks. To the upside, we have this volume imbalance right here, and we have another volume imbalance right here. I like this because this candle took out all these highs. This isn't as compelling of an area to short from, but it is an area that I think price is likely to dig into, possibly this week, if we're going to see follow through from these kind of double wicks the last couple of weeks. And then if we go back down to the daily, again, non-farm payroll on Friday, we were kind of consolidating, and price spiked the lows and saw this aggressive reaction. Now we have this bullish order block right here, and very obvious equal highs, these equal previous day's highs. So let's just call it previous day's highs. We have these equal highs right above the current market price after rejecting these lows, and we have this volume imbalance on the weekly, as well as this weekly level and this daily imbalance above. So I do feel like we are far more likely to reach up into here before we move lower. I don't expect to see a move lower, although we do have high impact news this week, I believe, with was it CPI? Okay, so this Thursday we do have a CPI report coming out. So CPI can change things. It could undo everything that happened, of course, but for now, early in the week at least, I would be definitely favoring buys. We have the equal highs, as I said, and if we look at the 4 hour, we can see that we've, again, swiped the lows, aggressive move up, taken out these highs, and I would be first looking at this right here, this gap right here. I think this area should be very sensitive, and if we go down even lower, can see below this level, it's also a 1 hour imbalance all the way down. Just keep going down the time frames. We can see that we have, I don't expect a deep pullback before continued upside. I think best case scenario for me would be that we get some sort of a retracement down into this area around New York Open, and then move higher. So if we go up in London, it's possible that I don't get an entry, but we could still keep playing upside targets just because it takes these equal highs, and there's this gap here. We could see some sort of move early in London, and then a higher low kind of up here, or maybe, I don't know what we're going to do exactly, but long story short, definitely reasons to be bullish early in the week. And so what would make me bearish? Well, again, if we see any type of move towards these liquidity points and then get a kind of structure break or a shift and taking out some short-term lows with some aggressive imbalance at around the key times of day that we look to trade, that would make me think that, hey, it could be possible that the market did what it wanted to do up here and now is working its way back down. But again, going back up to the monthly, just to come full circle here, the price is rejected off the low, and now it's going to be moving up towards the high. Now, as it moves up towards the high, we just have to check the lower time frame to see where does it stall, where does it, if we see a reversal on the 4 hour or on the daily, of course, that would make us shift our view again back to the downside. But for now, we know we have upside objectives between where we currently are and at least kind of halfway through this candle, possibly even higher. So that could be also, we could just be outright bullish. Who knows if we're going to see expansion to the upside. That's always possible with high impact news with CPI. We could continue up to the upside, take out last month's high. Could be wouldn't that be something? We have a big bullish candle this month. Not something I'm going to predict, but I just gotta be ready for whatever the market does ultimately. So wouldn't surprise me, but first and foremost, we have these targets in between where price currently is and the monthly high. So aside from that, I don't think there's anything more else to say at this point. We just are aware of what happened on Friday and looking into what we can expect early in the week, and then we'll just see how it unfolds, and then come up with a new plan if need be. Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll see what we get. So that's it for today. Hope you all have a great week, and we'll talk again soon.